I was not supposed to hear it. If I had stayed upstairs that night, if I had not gone downstairs for a glass of water, maybe my marriage would have lasted longer. Or maybe I just would have stayed blind a little longer. Hi, this is Breakup Diaries. This story was shared anonymously. And it's about what happens when the person you love becomes the reason you stop feeling good enough. Andre and I had been married for 4 years. From the outside, we looked fine. We had good jobs, a nice apartment, friends who envied our relationship. But inside our marriage, things had been changing for a while. We were both busy all the time. By the time we got home from work, we were too tired to talk about anything real. We stopped going on dates, stopped laughing the way we used to. Even our intimacy started feeling different. Less frequent, less natural, less connected. At first, I thought it was normal. I thought this was just what happened after years together. But then Andre started making little comments. You never dress up anymore. You're always tired. You don't try like you used to. They were small comments. But after a while, they started getting stuck in my head. I started looking at myself differently. Wondering if I had changed too much. Wondering if I was becoming someone he no longer wanted. Still, I kept telling myself we were okay. That we just needed time. That whatever distance was growing between us could still be fixed. I had no idea that one conversation downstairs was about to destroy the way I saw myself forever. That night, Andre's cousin came over to watch a game. I stayed downstairs with them for a little while, but I had work early the next morning, so I went upstairs before they did. I remember lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. I could still hear them laughing downstairs. Around midnight, I got up to get a glass of water. As I walked down the stairs, I heard Andre talking about me. At first, I almost smiled. I thought maybe he was saying something sweet. Then I heard him laugh. And then I heard the sentence that made me stop moving. Honestly, she's just not good in bed anymore. Everything inside me went cold. His cousin laughed awkwardly, and Andre kept talking. He said I never tried anymore. That I was always tired. That everything between us felt boring now. He compared me to the way I used to be when we first got married. And the worst part was how easy it sounded. Like he had been thinking those things for a long time. I stood there in the dark, halfway down the stairs, holding onto the railing because suddenly I felt weak. I wanted to walk into the kitchen and scream at him. I wanted to ask him why he would say something like that. But instead, I quietly turned around and went back upstairs. I climbed into bed beside him later that night and pretended to be asleep when he came in. But nothing felt the same anymore. Because once you hear the person you love describe you like that, you can never unhear it. After that night, I could not stop thinking about what Andre said. His words followed me everywhere. At work. In the shower. Lying awake at night. Every time I looked in the mirror, I started seeing myself the way I thought he saw me. Boring. Tired. Not enough. I started comparing myself to every woman I saw. Women online. Women at work. Women at the gym. I wondered if they looked prettier than me. More exciting than me. More like the woman Andre wanted. I bought new makeup. New clothes. Even lingerie I felt embarrassed buying. I started trying harder. Cooking his favorite meals. Trying to be more affectionate. Trying to act happier, sexier, more confident. But nothing changed. Andre barely noticed. And if he did, he never said anything. He still seemed distracted all the time. Still spent more time on his phone than talking to me. Still looked at me like I was someone he had already stopped seeing. That was the part that hurt the most. I was changing everything about myself just to make him want me again. And he did not even notice. The worst part was not hearing him say I was not enough. The worst part was realizing I had started believing him. Because little by little, I stopped feeling like the woman I used to be. And started feeling like someone who would never be enough for anybody. A few weeks later, I finally understood why nothing I did was enough. Andre had become secretive with his phone. He used to leave it anywhere. On the couch. On the kitchen counter. Beside me in bed. Now he kept it face down all the time. He took it everywhere. Even to the bathroom. I noticed it, but I kept telling myself not to be paranoid. Then one night, he fell asleep on the couch while holding it. I wish I could say I respected his privacy. I wish I could say I walked away. But I did not. Because deep down, I already knew something was wrong. The messages were from a woman named Soria. At first, they looked harmless. Work jokes. Random conversations. Then I kept scrolling. He called her beautiful. Told her she made his day better. Told her he felt more understood talking to her than talking to anyone else. Things he had not said to me in a very long time. There was no proof they had physically cheated. But honestly, I do not think that mattered. Because emotional cheating hurts too. Maybe even worse. Suddenly, everything made sense. The distance. The criticism. The way he looked at me like I was the problem. It was easier for him to blame me than admit he had already emotionally checked out of our marriage. And for the first time, I realized something important. Maybe I was never the real problem. I confronted Andre 2 days later. I could barely breathe the whole day leading up to it. Part of me was terrified. Part of me was angry. And part of me still hoped he would somehow explain everything in a way that would make it hurt less. But he did not. I told him I had heard what he said that night with his cousin. At first, he denied it. Then he said I misunderstood. Then he said he was just venting. Like humiliating me behind my back was somehow normal. Then I brought up Soria. The second I said her name, his face changed. He asked if I had gone through his phone. Like that was somehow worse than everything he had done. I told him I knew about the messages. That I knew he was giving another woman the attention he stopped giving me. Andre admitted he had been unhappy for a long time. He said we had both changed. That our marriage did not feel the same anymore. But all I could think was this. Instead of talking to me honestly, he blamed me. He made me feel like I was not enough. He made me hate parts of myself that were never the problem to begin with. I looked at him and said, "You did not just hurt me, you destroyed the way I see myself." And for the first time since all of this started, Andre had nothing to say. After that conversation, something inside me changed. For months, I had been trying to become the version of myself I thought Andre wanted. Prettier. More exciting. More confident. More perfect. But no matter how hard I tried, it was never enough. Because the truth was, Andre had already stopped choosing me a long time ago. And no amount of makeup, clothes, or effort was going to fix that. I spent weeks thinking about whether I wanted to stay. Whether I could forgive him. Whether I could ever feel safe with him again after hearing what he said. But every time I looked at him, I heard those words in my head. She's not good in bed anymore. And I realized I did not want to spend the rest of my life with someone who made me feel small. I did not want to stay married to someone who criticized me instead of loving me. So I left. Not because I stopped loving him, but because I finally loved myself enough to know I deserved better. Months later, Andre tried reaching out. He said he missed me. Said he regretted everything. Said he never realized how much damage he had done. But by then, it was too late. Because I had already started finding myself again. And the saddest part was not hearing him say I was not enough. It was realizing I had spent months believing him.